This video, we will start with the 5th chapter, Introduction to Euclid's Geometry. As you all know, geometry is obtained from this Greek word where this stands for earth and this word stands for measure. So basically the concept of geometry came for measuring the earth, in the sense to measure the area of something. Suppose you want to measure the plot, or you want to measure the boundary of something, or you want to measure the height of some building. So all these geometrical concepts that you have studied so far are basically required for finding measurement of certain things that we see in this real world. Now, from where did all these concepts of geometry basically come from? There are many mathematicians, Greek or Egyptian mathematicians, or Indian mathematicians, or Arabic mathematicians who have contributed a lot towards the concept or towards mathematics, especially towards geometry. And one such mathematician who has a lot of contribution towards geometry is Euclid. So Euclid is a well-known mathematician who gave many definitions which are used in geometry today. And all his work, or the work of Pythagoras and Thales, or many other mathematicians who are there, all their works are collected and arranged in a famous work of Euclid called Elements. So in the famous work of Elements, or in this book of Elements, there are many definitions of geometry given by Euclid. So this book of Elements which is there is divided into 13 chapters. Okay, they are divided into 13 chapters and each chapter is called a book. So there are 13 chapters in the Elements and each chapter is called a book. Now, if you see many of these geometrical concepts which are there, they have been coming, or they have been in existence since a long time. Okay, even during the lot of civilizations that we have seen, there were many concepts of geometry. Okay, to plan a city or to plan a place, all these concepts were used from a time of old civilization also. Okay, and because of these mathematicians who are there, we now use many concepts or definitions given by them, which has made our lives easier. Okay, so some of the things that Euclid gave, or some of the things or some of the definitions in the Elements book are as follows. The first one is, a point is that which has no part. So this is one of the definitions. This looks very abstract to you. So in simple words, it says, if you take a point, you know it has no dimensions, right? It has neither height, breadth or length. So it has no part. So that is what it means. Okay. Then second definition given is about line. First is about point. And it says, a line is breadthless length. Okay. So it has no breadth in it and only length. You already know a line is one dimensional. So only length is there in a line. So that is the second definition which we still use in today, but in a little modified way. The third definition is, the ends of a line are points. Okay, ends of a line are points. This also, you know, line extends in both the direction, but a line is made up of infinitely many points. So it will have, if you take any 2 points or any 2 positions here, then they will be points. Then the fourth one says, a straight line is a line which lies evenly with the points on itself. Okay, so if you have a straight line is a line which lies evenly, means in its proper order with the points on itself. The fifth definition is, a surface is that which has length and breadth only. So this also, you know, a surface is something which will have only length and breadth. Okay, it will not have any other dimensions. So this is what the fifth definition says. Sixth one says the edges of a surface are lines. Now edges of a surface are nothing but they are boundaries. So if you take any surface like this, then you know edges are the boundaries. Okay, if you take a regular surface has length and breadth. So you take any surface like this, the length, breadth all will be lines. Even if you take say triangular surface, then the length and the breadth, everything is a line here. So the edges, okay, or the boundaries of a surface are lines. Then the seventh definition is a plane surface is a surface which lies evenly with the straight lines on itself. So a plane surface is a surface which has many straight lines on itself. Okay, so these are some of the definitions which were given in the book of elements of Euclid. Some of them we have taken it as it is, but some are little modified and given in a little more precise way which we can use. So in this chapter, let us see some of Euclid's definitions, axioms and postulates. Now Euclid gave many statements in his book called Elements, which were called definitions. So all these statements that you have seen, they were some of the definitions that we saw. Now the book 1 of Elements, he has listed 23 definitions. So in his book 1 of Elements, he has 23 elements, and some of the definitions that we have taken from his book of Elements are these that we saw just now. Now Euclid also gave some assumptions. Okay, there are some Euclid's assumptions. What are assumptions? These are nothing but they are statements which are not proved. Okay, there are certain statements which you don't prove and you take as it is. For example, you might ask, say a surface has length and breadth. Now what is a length? What is a breadth? Now if you go on asking it, you take it as it is. They are taken, these definitions have been taken as it is without trying to prove them. So they are called Euclid's assumptions. They are taken as universal truths. Now Euclid's assumptions are two. Okay, one is called axioms and the other one is postulates. Now what are axioms? Axioms are statements or assumptions which are used throughout mathematics. Okay, and postulates are statements or assumptions which are specific to only geometry. So what it means is these statements which are there, under postulates, whatever statements come, they are used only to prove certain theorems in geometry. But the statements which come under axioms, they are used throughout all the branches of mathematics. So let us see today some of the axioms and postulates of Euclid's geometry. Now some of Euclid's axioms are: things which are equal to the same thing are equal to one another. So first axiom is things which are equal to the same thing are equal to one another. Basically, if you see what it says is, suppose you have A is equal to B. Okay, and suppose A is equal to B and C is also equal to B, then you know obviously A should be equal to C, right? If A is equal to B, things which are equal to the same thing, A is also equal to B, C is also equal to B, then A and C should be equal. So this is the first axiom which says, okay, things which are equal to the same thing are equal to one another. Second one says, if equals are added to equals, the wholes are equal. Now if you read this statement again, you will know what this second axiom says. If equals are added to equals, the wholes are equal. So suppose equals are added to equals. So you already have, say, A is equal to B. Okay. Now if you equals are added to equals means on both the sides you add the same thing. So if I add here A plus C, then here also I have to add B plus C. So if equals are added to equals, then the wholes are also equal. So whatever you get here, they are also equal. So this is the second axiom. Similarly, you have the third one, which says if equals are subtracted from equals, the remainders are also equal. So again, if I take equals A and B, and suppose I take C away from A and C away from B, then whatever is remaining here, that is A minus B and B minus C, they also have to be equal. So now we know them, you can express it in this form, but in his book of elements, the statements were given. This is what he gave the definitions as. Okay. So the third axiom says that. The fourth one says things which coincide with one another are equal to one another. In other words, if two things are identical or same, then they should be equal. So this is the fourth axiom. Fifth one says the whole is greater than the part. So suppose you have A greater than B, then it means there is a C such that A is B plus C. Means what? A is greater than B by something. So when I say 4 is greater than 3, means what? 4 is 3 plus 1, right? So it is greater than this number by, it is greater than, so 4 is greater than 3 by 1. So that is what it means. The whole is greater than the part. Sixth one says things which are double of the same things are equal to one another. Okay, things which are double of the same things. So A is equal to B, then double of those are also equal. The seventh one says things which are halves of the same thing are equal to one another. So half of A will be equal to half of B. So we already use all these things, but we can use them because of the axioms which are given in Euclids and book of elements. Now after we see axioms, okay, axioms are assumptions which can be used anywhere in your any field of mathematics or any subdivisions of mathematics. But what are Euclid's postulates? Euclid's postulates are assumptions or statements which are only used for geometry, or they are used only in geometry. So in this Euclid's postulates, the first postulate is a straight line may be drawn from any one point to any other point. Okay, so the second postulate says if you are given 2 points, then a straight line may be drawn from any one point to any other point. So if you are given 2 points, then you can draw a straight line from one point to the other. Okay, it says at least one straight line passes through two distinct points. So in this postulate by Euclid, he only said that at least one line or one straight line can pass through it. Okay, he did not say that more than one line cannot pass through it. Okay, so he did not say that there cannot be more than one such line passing through given 2 points. So later this result was stated in the form of an axiom as follows: given 2 distinct points, there is a unique line that passes through them. So if you are given 2 points P and Q, then there is one and only one line which will pass through both these points. Okay, from a single point infinitely many lines can be drawn. Similarly, from this point infinitely many lines can be drawn. But if you are given 2 points, then one and only one line can pass through these 2 points. So this is the first postulate of Euclid's. So in today's class, we have seen, okay, how from where we have got some of the concepts or definitions of geometry, and it is obtained from Euclid's book of definitions called Elements. And we saw Elements has 13 chapters, and each of these chapters were called is called a book. So there are 13 books in Elements. And then we saw some of Euclid's definitions and axioms and postulates. some of the definitions of point, line, surface, edge, plane were given by Euclid's axioms or Euclid's definitions. Then we saw what are assumptions or Euclid's assumptions. Euclid's assumptions are statements which are taken to be true and they are not proved. And we had under Euclid's assumptions, they were subdivided into two parts, axioms and postulates. Axioms are statements which can be used in any or throughout maths or mathematics, and postulates were used only in specific to geometry. Then we saw some of Euclid's axioms, and you saw we already used these axioms in some form or in more definite or specific forms. Then we came across Euclid's first postulate, which is nothing but it says given 2 points, there is one and only one line passing through those 2 points. So these are some of the things that we have learned or seen in today's class.